The yield that we see today in the DeFi market is not scalable. But what is the solution? The solution is not just to look for the yield inside the DeFi ecosystem, but to bring it from the outside. And the answer is tokenization of real world asset. Hi guys, I'm Rafay. I'm the co-founder of ZIGChain, and I look after the strategy and the token of overall for the ecosystem. Today we are going to talk about the real world asset and how the institutional grade yields are coming onto ZIGChain. But before diving deep into that, we need to look at the problem at hand and how blockchain are going to solve for it, and especially how ZIGChain is primed to take care of this. Let's start with the promise of DeFi and the decentralized finance that started many years ago, and blockchain played a critical role into it. Before saying anything, let's accept and acknowledge the role that a lot of blockchains has played in terms of bringing the awareness around blockchain and how decentralized finance is the true source of wealth creation and inspiration for millions and billions of people out there. But the reality is that DeFi in its current shape and form is not scalable, it's very extractive, and numbers speak fact. In 2021, the total size of DeFi was $170 billion. Today, this has come down to $140 billion, despite the fact that the industry has gone through a lot of institutional adoption, new liquidity, and Bitcoin literally being 5x more than where it was before. So where is the problem? Problem is that the yield that we see today in the DeFi market is not scalable. But what is the solution? The solution is not just to look for the yield inside the DeFi ecosystem, but to bring it from the outside. And the answer is tokenization of real world asset. And let's take a look at it, at how it is going to happen and how are we going to make sure that ZIGChain and the users of ZIGChain are at the midst of it. First of all, we need to understand that there are many yield sources, and if you look at the world around you in the traditional finance, what are the main sources of that? There's private credit, there are private equity, there's a real estate, and a lot of infrastructure, both in terms of technological and the things like oil and gas and all. But more importantly, you have to connect everything and make sure that this is driven down right at the bottom of the funnel, and the end users and the investor across the world, even with $10, have the same ability and same transparent accessibility to those yields without paying tens and tens of middle parties. So once you have the identified yield, which we are doing it through multiple protocols on ZIGChain, you take this through a funnel which is a technological and a regulatory funnel. At ZIGChain, what we have made sure is that we are working with the right partners and the right technological and as well as the regulatory solution providers, where we are able to take these opportunities and tokenize them in the right way. And we have a lot of partners. For example, we are working with $3.4 trillion fund manager Apex. We are working with Zonix, Toki, Control All, DigiShares, Billarium, and scores of other partners to make sure that these opportunities are then tokenized in a regulated environment and then pass it on for distribution. When you talk about distribution, there are two parts to it. One is the institutional and one is the retail part. I'll come to the retail part later and we'll deep dive into that. But let's talk about what is out there in terms of institutions. What are the institutions looking for? If you look at the total global global supply of money, it is somewhere around $120 trillion, or I think $130 trillion. But if you look at the liquidity deep inside the DeFi market, it is not even $200 billion, taking the Bitcoin out. So that means that the real money still resides in the traditional finance, and of course it will always be. How do you blur the boundaries? If you look at the Genius Act, which has come in the US, it has truly eliminated the gap between the fiat and the stable coin. What we need to understand is that with this stablecoin regulation and with the recent SEC guideline that the liquid is taking is not considered to be investment vehicle anymore, and it is considered like a receipt of an investment, that opens the world for us. That truly takes away the boundary and the friction between people moving money between stablecoin and the fiat world. A lot of institutions are now looking to have their money parked in stablecoin, where the total stablecoin market has gone from 120 billion to 320 billion in less than 18 months, which shows enormous growth, and these numbers are increasing day by day. Why are they doing so? Because now they are also seeing the flexibility of putting money across sectors using blockchain. What does it mean is that if we can provide these investment opportunities, which they already have, but in a more efficient way through blockchain, they're gonna come in. And why is it important? It is important because this is the liquidity coming in from the institutions that you can actually capture, and then when you tokenize it and you take it to the retail, it makes much more sense. Number one, there's a trust element. Number two, there's a liquidity. And number three, which is most important, is the adoptability. When you talk about the retail, the most important part to understand is that most of the retail, well, let's face it, the 90% of the world, for them $1,000 itself is a very big amount, and this is what we need to appreciate and celebrate, that these people should also get an opportunity. And this is what we have been working for the last 8 years. We are enabling an environment through our ecosystem and through ourselves. We have protocols like AuroSwap, Permapod, InvoiceMate, Zamanat, and many other building on our blockchain that are actually working on these retail railroads, creating that infrastructure where these tokenized assets that we talked about, they come all the way down to retail. They are available to them even if they have $1. Forget about $10, even $1 they can have it. This is something that this is not something new for us. This is what we did at Zignally as well. Back in 2018-19, when Zignally was a single copy trading platform and it used to have subscription, but then we realized that if you charge $35 from someone who only has $500 a month, he is starting from -7% that month. Imagine, and that's the biggest barrier. We took out that barrier. We started a concept called Successfully. And this is the same vision and same thought process that we are bringing into tokenization. That we do not want the people from Wall Street to come in and just capture this from one-sided angle, but we want to actually become Wall Street without the walls, that actually come and take these opportunities, break it down into the last bit, and take it to the people anywhere and everywhere in the world. And that is the vision we believe that ZIGChain can fulfill. And with all of you on our side, we believe that ZIGChain can be the chain which truly fulfills the promise of the DeFi market through that RWA tokenization. So guys, stay around and be excited. Lots of opportunities coming your way.